Okay, welcome to day 3 of the Mango Tree Travel Challenge. Today we get to talk about my favorite part, picking hotels. Now, not everybody gets as jazzed about hotels as I do, but I have become increasingly a nice hotel fan since starting to travel with kids. When you start to travel with kids, you may have started to recognize that you will inevitably spend more time at your hotel than you did perhaps in your pre-kid days. It really becomes more of a part of the destination and less of just a place to stay. And especially when traveling to the islands, when there is always like a slight sort of resort component to your travels, picking the right hotel can really make a difference in your trip and thinking through the right room configuration. And this is sort of why we started Mango Tree, was because this process of finding hotels I found had gotten to be so tiring, even for someone who loves planning travel. And I just have kept encountering more and more families that had trouble finding the right room that fit their families at the right hotel that was also adult focused and had some character and charm, but just enough amenities to make sure their trip was easy. And it's the littlest things, from the shallow end in the pool when traveling with a toddler to the size of the property when traveling with slightly older kids who really could benefit from a little bit of independent movement, being able to safely send them back to the room on their own to collect something that they forgot, or take a break, which is not something you can do when you're at a massive 400-person resort, but is something you can do at an intimate property where you feel like your children are safe, kind of like having some of that independence. Or the room configuration of, you need to make sure you have a balcony if you're traveling with a baby and you put that baby to bed and you're stuck in that room after bedtime. But if you're in the room next to the restaurant, then like maybe one of you can go for a drink, or the baby monitor will extend to the pool so that you can sit out and relax and enjoy your vacation during all those nap times. These are all the kinds of things that we thought about a lot when we were traveling with kids, and that it felt like a lot of the resources online really didn't help to address, and what Mango Tree wanted to help to create. So the first thing you should do when you're looking for your hotel in your Caribbean destination is go to Mango Tree Travel. What we've done is taken some of these things I just spoke about and created filters to help you find those hotels easier, faster, and plan with confidence the one that you're interested in. So you can start by filtering by some of the destinations that you identified yesterday and the day before as places that might interest you, and start by thinking about the type of room configuration that might work with you. Perhaps if you're traveling with a baby, a junior suite or a one-bedroom suite would be good enough. So maybe that's enough and you want to start there. And this will start to give you a sense of some hotels in your destination that are going to have the room configurations that would work for your family at different price points. Now, we love luxury hotels and think there's definitely a place for them in your family travels. And we love planning trips to some of these luxury options, but we also try to include more small hotels, independently owned, and at different price points on the website as well, which you can see when you look around Mango Tree Travel. Take a look at all the filters over on the side that have things that we really think are valuable for parents. And we're always trying to improve these filters. So if there's ever something you really wish you could see, please let us know. But down at the bottom, especially, there are some great filters when you're traveling with a little one. Having a kitchen can make a big deal. You always are going to want a balcony to relax on at night. Maybe you want a private pool for this particular trip. You want to make sure you have a bathtub and not just a shower. I think this is one of my favorite filters, is this Baja Shelf, which is one of those sort of toddler platforms in the pool. So your toddler kid who's maybe too little to swim fully has somewhere to play that doesn't require you to be in the deep end with them. And we really encourage, if you're looking for some sort of childcare as part of your trip, to use Kids Club and babysitting as a filter. A lot of the boutique hotels that we recommend might not have established kids programs, but they do maybe help you to arrange babysitting. Click into our hotel profiles. You're going to see basic information about each hotel and what we like about them for families. The general overview of why we like them for families really tries to capture the vibe for each hotel. a longer description of amenities. And then we always try to explain the best rooms for families, including like what size families these rooms work for, whether or not they have separate sleeping spaces for your kids. Over the course of building this database of hotels, we've now traveled to, I think, more than 20 Caribbean islands and toured 100 hotels or more in the islands. So even if there's an island that you're looking at and you see that we don't have a hotel on here yet, it may just still be in our queue to get up onto the website. So always feel free to reach out, especially this week while you're planning doing the challenge. You have access to me by email. So send us a note, say, this is the island where I found good flights. Like, which hotels do you recommend? Are there any that aren't up on Mango Tree yet that we should consider? And we can definitely share that information. But let me talk to you a little bit about like general approach to like, how did we find all these hotels? So as I mentioned, we did scouting trips. We're always looking for sort of small boutique hotels that have a really like real sense of place. There is a time and a place for a big resort, don't get me wrong, but it's not our area of specialty. And those that we do have are also getting up on Mango Tree as well. Sometimes like a bigger all-inclusive resort at a lower price point is really just what you need. And so we have some of those in our pocket, but we still really encourage you to think creatively about like some of these other hotels that might not at first glance look like family resorts, but these are all really welcoming of children and have like room setups and amenities that can make your stay feel very easy. Other places that we look to find hotels. Sometimes we still look on booking.com. I don't ever recommend booking a hotel through booking.com. That's something that we'll talk about at the end of this video. But using those search engines as a resource tool, on the other hand, can be very helpful just to get a sense of like what's out there for what price point to see what you should be looking at. There are also a few collections of hotels that are focused on independently owned hotels and small hotels that we think are really great, trustworthy resources. So I'm giving you a little bit of the secret sauce here of like 3 of the places that I check if it's a new destination for me and I'm starting my research to figure out which hotels I might want to scope to recommend to clients and on Mango Tree. And these are now all resources that we have relationships with through our travel agency, which is again something I'll kind of highlight at the end. So the first is, and these are all listed in your spreadsheet, your planning spreadsheet. The first is Leading Hotels of the World. Leading Hotels of the World is somewhere I've found some of my ultimate favorite hotel stays. This is really for like the luxury hotel lover. These hotels are some of the world's best independent properties. The stamp of approval from Leading Hotels is really one that I trust. I've had 2 of my favorite all-time hotel stays at Leading Hotels. They are now a partner of ours, so we can get you some VIP perks and amenities when we book these hotels for you. And I spend a lot of time dreaming about the various Leading Hotels I want to stay at. So I'll highly recommend, if you love nice hotels, that you make this a stopping place. They range in size, but like sort of ultimate levels of like service and warmth, character, and luxury. The second is small luxury hotels. So small luxury hotels is a bigger collection. It has about 600 hotels worldwide, and it comes from a focus on like size of hotel. So these are all smaller properties. The luxury level varies a little bit. They're all very nice hotels, but one of our favorite value add properties in the Dominican Republic, it's Sublime Samana. It's only 24 rooms. It's a beautiful hotel, but it's also one of our most affordable for suites for families for a hotel of that level. So small luxury hotels is a great resource with a slightly bigger variety and price point than you'd find from Leading Hotels of the world, but with a similar focus on like interesting properties, small hotels, and nice hotels as well. The third is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They started out in London to help find people, again, they're an independent researcher, much like Mango Tree, but that has since become more of like a consortium, and they're affiliating now with Hyatt properties so that you can start to get Hyatt points when you book Mr. and Mrs. Smith hotels. But they tried to seek out some of the world's best boutique and independent owned hotels. So for many years, this was one of the first places I started my own research. They will include, you'll see on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, hotels that are also in small luxury hotels or leading. So I start to triangulate. If I see a hotel appear on multiple of these sites, I know it's like especially worth considering as a hotel stay as well, and to start reading customer reviews to triangulate the one that I want to try. And then the fourth is tablet hotels. Tablet is, I would say, comparable to Mr. and Mrs. Smith in that it's like focused on, but a little bit on the less on character, more on luxury. But it is another sort of like hotel expert search engine that focuses on hotels with style in the luxury level. And so it's another great place to search for hotels. Some resource I really wanted to flag for you guys is our travel guides. We now have 5 travel guides out, and the French St. Martin travel guide is one of our newest. And just to give you a sense of like looking at hotels from different price points, in each of our travel guides, so we love doing custom luxury travel planning, but we also recognize that sometimes price point needs to be more moderated for given trips, depending on like where your family is at this moment. In each of our travel guides, we have hotel recommendations at every budget and every luxury level. So St. Martin, for example, we have the luxury hotel that we recommend, followed by 2 different boutique hotels that are smaller, a little bit more affordable, a little less 5-star, but still great and have spacious room for kids. And they both have a sort of very different vibe. Followed by some villa VRBO rentals. St. Martin's a great island for renting a villa or VRBO with friends because there are a ton of accessible beaches and restaurants to explore beyond the confines of a resort. So that sort of resort amenities are not quite as important. So if you're someone that wants to get out, explore cafes and restaurants, drive around somewhere, then this is a great option for that. And so we flagged sort of the neighborhoods of the island that we think you might want to stay in. And so in all of our travel guides, we have accommodations at different price points and different styles, recognizing that people just travel in really different ways and that families in all of these categories of travelers should be able to find something that will welcome their kids and give them that type of vacation that they're really interested in. So if you landed on a destination yesterday based on your flight research and your inspiration from day one, and we have a travel guide, then might be a great next step to helping you find your hotels. And the last thing I want to talk about before moving on is how to book hotels. So this is a really important part of our business and something that took some time for us to really learn. So when hotels are thinking about how to prioritize the needs of their guests, I would say things go in 3 different categories. One is if someone's booked through one of their VIP preferred partners. That might mean you're a Four Seasons preferred member or part of Rosewood Elite or Hyatt Privé or Hilton Honors, or you booked through one of these small luxury hotel consortiums, leading hotels of the world, Tablet. These hotel partnerships, they work with travel advisors and partnership programs to make sure that people who keep sending them guests, those guests get treated like VIPs. That might include tangible things like guaranteed include breakfast, first on the upgrade list, a resort credit of $100 or more, late check-in priority or early check-in, late checkout priority. Some of those programs we get guaranteed perks. And others, it's a little bit more relationship based. And just if something ever goes wrong, you have that extra line to the hotel. The next level down from that is people who book direct online. If you're going to just book a hotel yourself, not through a travel advisor, the best way to book it is direct. But if you have a travel advisor, and whether that's us, we book hotels on a complimentary basis, or whether that's somebody else that you know, you should always think about booking luxury hotels through them to get the best experience for you and to get some of these perks. You'll pay the same when you book through a travel advisor, but with access to more. Sometimes better rates, often the same with perks. And travel advisors get a commission from that hotel. So it supports their business as well. It's part of how we make money to be able to create these resources is by showing hotels that that people trust our recommendations. Those guests get a better VIP experience and at no cost to them. And then there's usually a small commission baked into the price of every room for travel advisors. So you'll pay the same, but you'll support the travel advisor's business, you support our business, and you'll usually get a better experience out of that hotel booking as well. And then the last way to book is through like a booking.com or Expedia. You might save a little bit of money on the front end, and sometimes that's important, but if anything goes wrong, you're the lowest priority guest. You're never going to get that upgrade. You're never going to get that free breakfast if it wasn't included in your price. And you might not even have a direct line to the hotel if something does go wrong. If your room configuration with the beds with your kids isn't right, they don't have as much of an incentive to fix it for you. So only when price is like really the determining factor would I ever book through one of those websites. And usually it's like just like really not worth the headache and the risk of having to deal with them when you could book direct online, or even better, book through an advisor that can make sure to help smooth every aspect of your stay. Okay, I'll wrap it up a little early because I want you guys to take a little bit of time today to play around with these hotel resources. Look on Mango Tree, see if you can find a hotel for your spring break next year based on the flights that you saw yesterday. Use the spreadsheet just to kind of calculate like the price per room that you're likely to get. And please reach out for any questions. You have access to me by email all week. So if you found some great flights yesterday and aren't quite sure, even with these tips about like where to start or don't have the time starting to plan, shoot me a note that says, these are the islands that you found good flights to, and let me know a little bit about you and your family. And either I'll be able to answer those at our Ask Me Anything session on Friday, where I'm going to walk through some hypothetical trip plans based on what you guys are seeing in the flights, based on what hotels you're finding. And can give you some personalized advice this week on like which hotel might be the one for you.